Hello everyone, it's Chrissy here from the Creative Eclectic. Happy Tuesday night. Hope you are having a fabulous day. Oh God, I'm sorry my live just went stupid. I will try again. Okay, we're back to normal. Alright, that's a bit better. I don't know what just happened there. I tried to zoom in. Alright. So, hope you're all having a fabulous week so far, and that you're well. Sorry I'm a few moments late. I was eating my dinner, so I had to scoff it down. Anyway, hey Marty, hope you're feeling a little bit better, and that you're well rested. Hi Carol L, I can see you're watching too. If you're watching, make sure you say hello and tell me how you're doing. Hey Glenda L, how are you? Is it wet enough for you up there? I saw that you're going to get lots of rain. I'm hoping that we have I've bought everything tonight. I know I'm missing something, but who would know what that is? Alright, so because I was a little bit late, how about we jump right in? So tonight I'm showcasing a new kit that came out earlier this month. So let's have a little open it up. Now I have opened it because I've made three of the cards. So this is a Maritime Moments kit, and I'm trying to see if you can see that, yeah, without it being too glossy. How you going, Carol? And how are you going, Glenda? Marnie, you keep dropping in and out. Your internet service must be having a rough time. So this is a Maritime Moments set. It's got 6 cards, not three cards, and you get 2 of each design. I have made up the original cards, and I just thought tonight it'd be nice to get a little bit more bang for our buck out of this kit. Now it's really lovely. It's got, I don't know if you can see it, it's got a sailboat, not a sailboat, a ferry really. And then it has got a sailboat, and it's got a pelican, and you know, I'm overcoming my fear of pelicans. And the funny story was that I had an incident with a pelican. I walked under a light, and a pelican decided it was going to bless me with its poop, and it was, let me tell you, pelican poop, there's a lot of it, and it's really, really what's the word, stinky, fishy. So I love the envelopes in this. So and it comes in French, German and English, and I think Dutch, I don't know. And so it's got a stamp set. You've got, so the stamp set is no sentiments, it's just seagulls, a sailboat, a lighthouse, and some foliage. You get a grey granite ink spot. Then you also get a block and some mini dimensionals, and some linen thread and tear and tape, and you get lots of little sentiments as well. in the different languages. So I've punched out everything I need, and you get a little printed bit to slip into your into a stamp case if you want to store that in the stamp case. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to use my own dimensionals and my own block. I think. I was looking for that on Saturday. It's funny when you come upstairs and you find stuff that you were looking for. Now I've got a grotty block, but it's okay. So we'll just we'll need our stamp set. We'll need our grey granite ink. And I'm going to show you the other cards before we get going. So this is I've shown you the first one, the pelican one. And then, oh, you're getting some rain, but not too much yet, Glenda. Okay, well that's good. So this is the second one. So these are, and I haven't done anything more than what they told me to. Like I've just made these, so I've just stamped on that. It's, I'm hoping that didn't go too bad. Well, internet dropped out for a second. I'm sitting right next to the internet box and all the green lights are on. But anyway, so so it's got some foliage as well. So, and look at the envelopes. Aren't they just lovely? And I just stamped the front of the envelopes and stamped the inside of the card because no naked insides of cards. And then the third one is a sailing boat and an anchor, and I know that I've lost the anchor somewhere. Hey Tracy, thanks for watching. Hey Glenda S, thanks for watching. Alright, so the thing I don't like about this kit, even though it's fabulous, it doesn't have any bling, but luckily I'm the bling queen and we have lots and lots of bling. More alright, so we just, for those who just joined us, this is the Maritime Moments kit. We're making it, but we're not making the base projects that you have instructions for. We are stepping this up because when you get a kit, I feel that you should be able to get more than 6 cards out of it. So we're going to get a few more cards out of this one. We're going to start with the materials for this one, right? And so we will need our paper trimmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the card base and I'm going to first of all chop it in half down the score line and put half of it put one half aside. So I've got my stamping trimmer and I probably need a new blade for this, so please forgive me. Okay, so I'm going to pop that aside and I've got this piece here. I have got a piece of I've got some Cajun Craze cardstock. Now, I want this to fit in a standard envelope. So I know I've just got a piece here that is 10.5 centimetres by 14.9 centimetres. So just, I think it's 4 1/8 by 5 5/8, 5 7/8. So if you're in the US, just cut your sheet of cardstock into quarters. If you're in Australia, cut your A4 into quarters. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this piece down because Australian cards are taller and skinnier than US cards. Alright, so we're just going to make this we'll try 3 7/8 and see if that gives us enough. If it cuts it down enough. Yep, that's looking pretty good. So we cut it down to 3 7/8. Okay. Now put that other way. Now I'm going to take the front piece of this card. So this is this piece here. And I'm going to stamp. I'm not going to stamp on it. I've got this piece as well. I'm going to keep this scrap for later on. I've also got another piece of cardstock that is, and I knew I forgot something. I wrote down all my measurements so it would be really good, and I was so organised. So this one is, and you can use the same size whether you're in Australia or in North America or Europe. So it's going to be 3.5 inches wide, or almost 9 centimetres, by almost 24 centimetres by 9, and I'd like to say it's 9.5 inches, round about there. All right, so what we're going to do, and then we've got a piece of white which is just the same size as your little piece that comes in your kit. All right, so I want to do 6 cards tonight, so I am moving a bit quick, trying to move a bit quicker than normal. So what I'm going to do is just pop my white on the inside, but then as I'm doing that I realise I should stamp it, so I'm going to just pop it onto my silicone craft mat so I can stamp it. We're just going to use the little sailboat. I'm just going to stamp it down here. Right. The reason I put it on my silicone craft mat is because I have some adhesive on the back. Right. So I'm just going to pop that on here. This piece of Cajun Craze. Then we're going to, we're not even going to stamp on the front. We're just going to stick that on the front. You're probably thinking, oh, where did that come from? Glenda S., you must be due to go on your holidays soon. I hope that the flooding hasn't impacted your trip. Right. Right, so I'm going to pop this piece. Now this piece here was the piece that the card base that I cut in half and then just trimmed it a little bit. And I'm not using glue today because I didn't feel like getting messy. Doesn't mean that I won't use it. It just means that right this second I'm not using it. Now you've got to sort of eyeball it and center it. Now then what we're going to do, see, it's just a flat card. It's not an opening card there. But then what we're going to do is we are going to just pop some Seal Plus on the back of the fluffy bit. And pop that in the center there. All right, so it's a little, it's sort of a fancy fold card, but not quite. I've got a sentiment from the set, and I've got some ribbon, some linen thread. No, linen thread comes with it, but I just want to have a bit. I'm just using some out of my stash because I've got some. So I was just wrapping the linen thread around my fingers, and just going to pop some Seal Plus on the back of my sentiment. Just put some linen thread, spread it out. So it's sort of like a bow without being a bow, but you're just going to make it sort of go a bit crazy behind your sentiment. So it sort of reminds me of fishing net. And it doesn't have to be really exact. You can sort of just tease it however you want. You don't want it to be like a flower. You want it to be more like the rope that you see on the fishing boats. Although I'm told that the only rope on a ship is the rope that's on the bell, because all the other ropes on the boats or ships have specific names. So you get the idea. It's sort of, it does look like a flower though. And if you don't like it, what you can do is just pull it all off, and then you can just try again. 2, 3, 4. And you might just say, okay, I want to have it so it looks more like a rope. Just twist it in the center. And have that, I like that better, yeah. So it looks more like a rope from a boat. Less like a bow. Right, so then you're going to grab your dimensionals. So Tracy, how are you? Oh, I'm just glad you could make it. No worries about being late. We've got 2 Tracys watching tonight. Tracy, Tracy B, I have your order here for you. It arrived yesterday, and I opened it today and went, oh, that's not for me. Thanks for joining us. So Tracy R, Tracy Ross, thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you here for a while. Yeah. So we're just going to pop that in the corner. Now, as I said, this kit doesn't have, I think it needs another, doesn't have bling, so we are going to add a little bit of bling on that, but we'll do that at the end. All right, so this is the first card. It's a different version of that one. So this one here, it's got a die cut, but we are saving that die cut for a different thing, and it's got some stamping over here. So that's our first card. Whoa, we're only 23 minutes in and I've done 1 card. That's some sort of record. All right, let's take a look at our second card. And we're going to use the same stamp, same paper. Now we want this one to fit inside the envelope because we don't want to waste the envelope. This one will sit inside a standard envelope that you need, but not the envelopes that come with the kit. Oh, yeah, the envelopes that come with the kit are a bit wider. All right, so we're going to take some other elements from the kit. So I've got a piece of, Cajun Craze, and I've got some basic white. I should have 2 pieces of basic white. Don't tell me I've lost it. All right. Anyway, so we're just going to, first of all, this piece of Cajun Craze is, let me measure it for you. It is, oh, you're looking forward to today's class? It's going to be fun. Yeah. I'm glad you love it, Glenda. I know, Carol, I'm thinking of cards for Russell for his 70th. Okay, so this is about, I'd say it's the full length of a A4. I don't remember cutting it. And it is 10.5 centimetres wide, so it's half an A4 sheet, right? And then I have scored it at 3 3/4 inches. Yeah. All right. So when you fold this, you'll see that if you're using an A4 sheet, if you're using a 12 by 12, you won't have this issue. But see this bit here, this front flap here is a little bit shorter than the other sections. That's because an A4 sheet is in 12 by 12. So what we're going to do with that is that little piece that we didn't throw away earlier, and which I threw in my basket. Just looking for my other piece of white. No, don't have it there. We're going to use that and just pop it, because we don't want to waste it, because everything in the so this is Cajun Craze, this card, and so the kit goes with Cajun Craze, Balmy Blue. So I'm just going to pop that bit of scrap along there, right? So that's just going to sort of instruct you where to open it. And the other piece, I'm just going to trim it off with my scissors. Right. And this piece here, I'm just going to fold in half. And I want to put some Seal Plus, more Seal Plus on that. Now I haven't made these. This is the first, I did a practice run without sticking them together or cutting them up, but I haven't made them, right? So you are seeing this whole creative process absolutely live and unedited, and hopefully it's going to work. So you've got this little bit here, and that's just going to open. All right, so you can see that that's an openy thing. Right, openy thing. That's really technical language, Chrissy. All right, so then I've got my piece of basic white, And it is, I wish I'd put my measurements up. It is 3 inches by 3.5 inches. So before we stick that on, we want to just change it up a little bit. I'm going to grab my grey granite, because that's in the pelican. I can't even say what it is because I'm so, yeah, cardstock is getting too expensive to waste. And I'm hoping that's going to reconnect. I'm sorry if it keeps dropping out. I don't know why. All the bars are on the... So I think it might be a Facebook issue, not a Chrissy issue. But anyway, I've just popped that. So I've just popped the edge onto my ink pad. Being careful not to damage your ink pad, because these ink pads aren't as sturdy as the old ones we used to have. Now if you've got a piece of plastic packaging, say for example from your block or whatever that came in your kit, or even on some, I'm just going to use a piece that's off the, some bling. Now what I want you to do, get a piece of plastic packaging, right? And you're just going to scrunch it up. And we're going to dip it into your ink pad, dip it off a bit, and then just sort of so this gives you a different background because it's too stark. So I'm just using a plastic bag that my bling came in, and you can just wipe it off. You can use Glad wrap, and so there we go. So we've sort of dirtied up the background, and I wanted to dirty that up because I didn't want it to be super stark. So now I've got a piece of my linen thread, and on the back of this pelican, it's not a penguin, it's a pelican. Oh, you've had, oh yes Marnie, it's a latch, that's what it is. So it's a handle really. And Tracy, you've had problems with your internet too. Yeah, it's a good effect, isn't it? It's just using something that you already have. Now I want to pop this around. So I put a piece of seal, a bit of seal on the back of my post. I think that's what they, or mooring, or whatever you like to call it. And forget, where's Jan when you need her? She would be telling me what it's called. She's a boatie. Alright, so we're just going to wrap that round 3 times and trim it off to make sure it's stuck firmly to the back. Now if you don't have linen thread, which you will have in the kit, but if you didn't, you can grab some white kitchen twine and you can colour it whatever you want. So how you colour it is you would just get your thread and you run it back and forth over the ink pad, and that changes the colour. Or you can put some of the re-inker in a little dish and you can change the colour using the re-inker. So I'm just using my stamping dimensionals. Now we'll need a mini dimensional, that one of the ones that comes in the kit for its head. But I have pack open, so I'm not going to open the kit one. Alright. Now I didn't want to make this a really a card that sits up too high. So we're just going to pop that over here. I'm going to use the same sentiment as we used before as we used with the pelican before. And we're just going to stick that, and I'm going to stick that down flat. I'm not going to stick it up high. What did you Google, Glenda S? As the term, latch as in the terminology. A handle, a latch, a pulley thing. I think pulley thing sounds perfectly. Yeah. Ah, all right. Okay. So then we're going to pop this on the front of this piece here. So it's a trifold. All right. Getting low on dimensionals. I find another pack. I'm pretty sure I've got some in my drawer. So because it's that little latchy thing isn't a mechanism because it doesn't move or anything. Look at that. I've finished that little sheet of dimensionals, and look, all the backing is pretty much on there. All right, so we're going to need some more dimensionals on this. I've only got mini ones here, so I'm just going to use the edge bits. Just in the center. Just to hold it up. So as you might know, Google's, it could be a tab, Glenda. That's true. As you might know, Facebook is deleting live videos. So I'm in the process of uploading all of my Facebook Lives, well, all the ones that teach a class, to YouTube. So if you don't follow my YouTube channel, please start to follow it if you want to if you want to refer back to old videos. Actually, we're going to turn this around and we're going to make it go. We're going to be a rebel. I'm going to stick this on this way. Oh, well, I put it in the wrong spot. Now, luckily I hadn't stuck that all the way down. All right. So my YouTube channel is the Creative Eclectic. So make sure that you're following that. There is some heaps of playlists, like there's an embossing playlist. Oh, Jen, it could be a jetty pylon. It's nice to see you. Your ears must have been burning. I didn't know you were here. All right, so now we just got to put a little bit on the inside. And again, we're going to I'm just going to grab a piece that is, I think this is wide enough. Just need to make it deep enough. 3 3/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches, something like that. No, 3 1/4 inches. Now I've done it too small. It's okay. So we're just going to grab back our piece of plastic bag again. I'm not going to ink around the edge, but I am going to just put a bit of the plastic bag around the edge, just to make it less dark. Now if you wanted to, you can stamp it, but we don't need to. So, and you can put another piece on the inside. I'm not going to today. But what we could do is, if I had a Cajun crazing pad up here, could probably stamp that. That's optional. We're trying not to spend too much time. So there you go. That's our second card. So we've got the original card, and then out of a card base, we've made two other cards, and both of them are fancy folds. So that's those two, and this one fits into the envelope like before. So love the envelope, and the other one fits into a standard envelope. Oh. So there we go. So that's that one. All right. So now we're going to go with our next colour, which is going to be this one here. So that's our second card. So we use that card base. All right. Now I have done a little bit of pre-work here, but first of all, we're just going to cut this card base in half. Hope you feel better soon, Marnie. Hey, Janine, my lovely friend. Oh, it's not long till I see you. Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing you. I know it's still a couple of months, but it just feels like forever. All right, so I'm going to pop my envelope to one side. So again, we're going to make one that fits into this envelope, and the other is going to fit into a standard size envelope. So we'll do the standard size envelope one first. So this time I've got a grey granite card base, and I've got a piece of white insert. So if you are in the US, you won't need to cut this one down. It should just fit over top of your half a piece of cardstock. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this down to 3 3/4 inches wide. And again, we're going to keep this little piece. Alright. Now before we do anything else, I actually had a different thought about how I was going to do this, but my brain had other ideas. Oh, you miss, hey, Megan. How was dinner? The colours are pretty, Jan. Oh. You missed this kid. You only saw it today. Oh, goodness me, Megan. You're usually the one that tells me all about what's happening. So this, what we're going to do here is just grab our grey granite ink. Like in the kit, you'll have an ink spot, but we're just going to randomly stamp all around the edge. You can stamp off the edge. You're not going to see much of it, but it's just nice. Just breaks up the colour. Now you can cut this to a different size. You can cut it to whatever size you want. And I just had a brain freeze about what I was going to do with this card. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Now, I have got a piece of watercolour paper. So I have just had some watercolour pencils and a balmy blue. So I've coloured some of it in balmy blue, just really lightly. A bit of Night of Navy, which I've gone all the way around the edge and the outside. And the Coastal Cabana, because we don't have a pool party. Now, what we're going to do is, so we've got I'm showing a few techniques tonight. And now we've forgotten the sponge. But luckily, I have a sponge dauber, which will just do the job of the sponge. Almost. A sponge would be better. I did have a stamping sponge, which must have got put next to the tray. Okay, and I've got my little spritzery thing, my water spritzer thing. So I'm just going to spritz the sponge dauber. Now you could spritz straight on the, let's try and spritz straight on the, okay, we don't want it too wet because otherwise it's not going to stick. We're going to get our sponge dauber and just sponge it. Because if you make it too wet, the glue is not going to stick. I'm going to use my fingers for the bottom half. So the sponge, if you used a big sponge, now it's only going to be very, very light. Well, that might be one of the things that my husband, oh wow, there's my, I found my ribbon thing. Steve put everything in the drawer to clear off the desk, and I just couldn't, but there are 6 drawers, so I couldn't work out which drawer. I got a little bit of tissue here, and I'm just going to dry it off. Now, it's very, very pale. You probably can't even really see that. So you've got some blue and some green, and if you're not happy with it, you just add a bit more of the sponge. And yeah, and I'm using my sponge dauber and just going, and it's damp and it'll dry off in no time, and just going around the edge as well, just to make sure that it's soft. Now, I don't, the tiniest bit of tissue, but anyway, who would know where the box of tissues went? Right. I was tempted to dry it on my dress, but I don't want stuff all over my dress. Alright, so I've got my background. Just going to close that for the moment. Oh, I'm not. I'm going to grab my stamp set, and that comes in the kit, and it has got some birds, and we're going to stamp those birds on. Now, if you are doing this, you can use your heat tool to dry it. Oh, it's such a good kit. Hi Kerry, how are you? I've been thinking about you. Didn't get a chance to talk to you much at On Stage. I hope you're doing well, darling. Right, I'm just going to stamp this one here. You could stamp it off in the background. I want to make sure that I've got 3 sailboats on here. So I'm going to stamp this one. I've got a little scrap. Stamp it off on my scrap. And just pop that one over here too. Okay. So ideally you could use your heat tool and dry it off. But we're not doing that today. All right. So now we're going to bring in the card front. Now you can trim this down further if you like. I don't think it needs it, but that's up to you. And we're going very minimalistic today. Let's stick this on the front. Now, because this is still damp, I'm just going to put my Seal Plus. Kerry, I'm glad you're good. Alright, so I've just stuck, because this is still damp, I didn't want to put the Seal Plus on it because otherwise it was going to rip it. I'm not on late, I'm right on time, Leanne. You might have, are you on daylight savings now? That might be what you think, why you think I'm late. I'm still at the same time I've been for the last ages. But like, nice to see you, Leanne. Is it still snowing there? Right, so we've got this little bit that's left over. So I'm just going to pop that on the inside as well. Just to give it a bit of interest. Watch is telling me it's time to stand up. And ideally, before you stuck that white on the inside, you would have actually stamped the inside as well. Now, I don't have a sentiment for this one because I'm using that on the other one. We're going to just pop our boat on the inside, and we're going to pop some birds on the inside as well. So ideally you would have stamped before you stuck it in, but you know me, I don't like to do anything in order. I like to keep you guessing. Oh, okay, that's not too bad, Leanne. That's not a bad temperature at all. Alright, so I'm going to use the edge of my mini dimensionals again to stick my sailboat on. Now I've got another 3 cards, so I'm trying to hurry. But I've done 3 already, so we're doing okay. I'll speed it up a little bit. I'm not a quick crafter and it stresses me to craft quickly. Alright, so I've got this one here. So you don't need to use that on a on the other with the original card. So you've got a completely different background to what we had before. And like if you wanted to, you could do some more colouring, but we're not doing that tonight. All right, so let's get back to using that same, the other half of the card base. Again, we're going to just use, we're not going to layer it on anything, we're just going to use it as it is. Now if you wanted to make it a bit sturdier, you could layer it. So now I've got a piece of white, this piece here, a piece of grey granite, the picture, and some Night of Navy. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is on our grey granite base, which is just a quarter of the sheet of cardstock, we are going to make a little pocket. So how we're going to do that, sorry, I was out of the camera, is we're going to grab the printed piece that came from this in your kit and just pop that across a piece of grey granite. Now I don't know the measurements, just going to have to eyeball it. Alright, and I'll trim that end piece off. We will use that somewhere else, so I'll just stick it onto my little vacuum thing. Right, so what we want to do is just going to make a little pocket, and we might use some adhesive strips to do that. It might be the easiest. And then the pocket's got a bit of dimension as well. Okay. So we're only just putting the adhesive strips on two sides. So sometimes when you get a kit and you look at it and you go, and you see it online and you go, oh, I don't know that I can use that. Trust me, you can. You don't have to use it the way that Stampin' Up tells you to use it. As you can plainly see, I don't. And I like not using it the way that Stampin' Up tells me to use it. So I've got the adhesive strips on three sides, and so the bit that doesn't have this adhesive strip goes to the top. It's a bit hard to see with all the shadows. Okay, so you've got like a little pocket there, all right? So I've got this piece here. Now it is a quarter of an inch wider, no, an eighth of an inch wider and taller, but it is double the length. Does that make sense? So what we want to do here is we're going to just grab some linen thread and we're going to pop some adhesive on the back. Just going to wrap that round twice like that. Pop a bit more adhesive on. Now we're not doing anything fancy, we're just keeping it very... Okay. It feels like every 2 seconds Facebook is trying to reconnect, and I'm sorry if it's coming through on your end like that. Okay. And then we're going to grab a glue dot, because you all have glue dots in your stash. And remember, when you order a box of glue dots, you don't order 1 box, you order 2, so that you never run out at midnight. Okay. And you put the glue dot where you want your dot, and you're just going to tie a little knot with your linen thread. Okay. And that way you can tie a knot or a bow. I'm just tying a knot because it seems more masculine to tie a knot. And what I'm going to do is trim off the excess a bit, make them about the same length, and just fray it a little bit. And no, I'm not going to do the frayed knot joke again. Alright. Okay, so we're just going to fray that so it looks more rustic. Okay, so now we've got our piece of white, which was about 1/4 of an inch shorter. Now I need a bit more Seal Plus along the top there, just to hold that in place. Okay, it's the rain. Is it raining? I don't know. Is it raining, Megan? I don't know if it is the rain. It hasn't rained much here today. Not that although I have to say I haven't been outside, so I wouldn't have a clue. So we're going to put, on the inside of this card, we're going to put a little lighthouse. Okay, so we've just got a piece of white. Now you can adjust the size to whatever you like. The good thing about this lighthouse, and I want to show you something really tricky. Dropping out the internet. I getcha. A blonde moment. Okay, so see this little bush here? Your little the stamp is designed to fit over that. So what we might do is we'll stamp it and stamp it off, and just, so it's designed to line up with that. See, and it's very, very pale in the background, but you can see it just fits perfectly. So there we go. And we might put some birds on there too, just in the background, nice and pale. We'll stamp them off as well, just because we can. And I know you should do this before. But it's okay, you know. We just want them. We don't want them in your face. Oh, it's been sprinkling there on and off all day. Oh, it probably has been raining here. I don't know. I just have been trying to ahead of stuff, really. I did a whole and trying to work out what videos I need to upload and what I don't. And all right, so that's going to fit nicely. So we're not putting the whole card in the pocket, just the back of the card goes in the pocket, so you can still open it. Okay, and we will put some bling on at the end. I'm doing a Vicky. She doesn't put bling on till the end, I think. So we have to decide what sort of bling that we're going to use though. All right, so we've got, there's another 2, so we've done 4. All right, we're not doing too bad. It is only 2 past 8, so I've still got another 2 to do. And so this is, we're using the base that we used for this one here. Oh, hang on. I forgot to put the sentiment on this one. Let's do that first before we... So what I'm going to do with this one... I'm sorry about that. I completely forgot. I'm just going to use the banner sentiment as a guide to just sort of make a banner out of the Cajun Curries piece. Now this is a separate piece that comes as one of your little die cut pieces. Then I'm going to grab, I can't believe I forgot to put a sentiment on it. What was I thinking? I'm just going to grab that. I've put a double layer dimensional at the top there, at the one end, and then a single layer at the other end. Oops, It's stuck to my finger. And then we're going to just use a bit of Seal Plus. So try and get that in the center. And then we're going to slip it under your knot. That's better. Ah, much better. Looked a bit weird without a sentiment on it. And you can grab a glue dot and manipulate where you want. So I'm going to cover up that one of those birds a bit better, and yeah, just chuck that underneath. So that's our fourth card. So no rocket science there, just nice and easy. All right. So let's take our last one. Now I haven't really given this one much thought. And I certainly haven't done a run through. So this is flying by the seat of my pants. All right. So again, cutting the card base in half. So instead of 6 cards, you're going to end up with 9 cards using this kit. All right, the way that I'm showing you tonight. If you wanted to, you could end up with more. Pool party. And this is just half a piece of cardstock. And we're just going to cut this to the right size for our cardstock. I think that's right. Something like that. That looks about right. Now you could use green. I don't know what colour green that is. Let me have a look in the kit. Finally your dinner is ready. I thought you'd had dinner, Megan. Oh, Tracy's been showering at your place too. Alright, where did I put the thing? I don't know where I put the brochure. Oh, here it is. I spend half my life looking for stuff. Alright, so the green is garden green, or you could use granny apple green. So you've got balmy blue, Cajun craze, garden green, granny apple green, grey granite, night of navy, pecan pie, and pool party. So there's lots of options there for you to use with this kit. Alright, so I'm using a pool party base. And I did have a piece of pool party, a piece of white, but it seems to have absconded. I'm just going to move these out of the way so I am not getting flustered by all the mess. All right. Now my white seems to have disappeared. So we're going to pretend that it's got a white inside it. All right. Okay. So this one is just going to be very, very simple. So in your kit, you get 3 of these things, right? So we're just going to take one of them. And we are going to just cut it the same width as our coloured layer. All right. Okay. And grab a piece of our linen thread. Now, because I've only got a little bit of linen thread here, oh, we've probably got enough. I'm just going to go, I'm not going to wrap it all the way around. I'm just going to wrap it about 1.5 centimeters to 1/2 inch on the inside, on the back side. So it's not wrapped. So you're using less. We're being a bit frugal. Okay, I'm just going to trim that off there. On my base where I want this to sit, just going to pop a bit of Seal Plus, even though I've got Seal Plus all the way along. Now these are simple cards, and yes, it's taking me over an hour to show you how to do them, but if you weren't chatting and looking at comments like I am, I'm sorry you're dropping out. Oh. Alright, I hope you get to watch it later, Kerry. And right, so that's this piece here. Alright, then we're going to grab just this boat printed piece that comes in your kit. And whew, it's a bit warm in here. Oh, I couldn't work out why it was warm, and I haven't got the fan on. I wasn't having a power surge, it was just no fan. And Steve has a habit of turning the air conditioning off, so you will have turned it on and then he'll go past and he'll turn it off because he's cold. I don't know how a Kiwi could be cold, you know, but anyway, we have a battle with the air conditioning at the moment. Alright, we're just going to pop our little boat on here. Okay, it's just in the middle. We're going to pop this on the inside. Just to give it a little bit of extra interest. Now I could have used that on my next one, but it's going to be fine. And I've got this little piece here, little banner piece. We didn't want to throw that away. And this little banner piece, a little piece. So we're going to just make a little banner out of it. So the easiest way to do it is actually to fold it in half. And then you'll know it's even. So I've got one banner there. I'm going to make this one into a banner as well. I'll just fold it the opposite direction because I've got alright. We're just going to pop them on the inside of our card too, so that you have got a bit of extra interest inside the card. Even so, we're pretending we've got a piece of white inside the card, aren't we? Okay. And we're just going to pop this here. So they're sort of like little flags, and if you had some of the other left, you could use that as well. So that one definitely needs a bit, we need to finish off our linen thread by putting a bow on it. So I'm just going to use my 10-second bow maker. If you're in the US, you can buy them from myteachstamping.com, and you just have it. So we're going to have this tail piece in the front, wrap ourselves around, go up through the middle, and then you just tie a knot. Okay, really simple. And then we're just going to stick that little bow right here. There's my adhesive there. We've stuck a little bow there. Now you can stick a sentiment on later. You don't have to have it stick the sentiment on straight away. Right, and I've left these so I can actually slide my piece of white underneath. So that's the second last card. Now, the next card is a fancy fold as well. Now, I've cut this in half, but what I want to do, so I cut that one in half, the base card in half. So now what I want to do is I want to, this one here is 4 inches, and that one here there is 4 inches. We're at the 3 7/8 mark, so just, if you want to make it really, just under the 10 centimeters mark, you're just going to score that. Alright. Now I'm not going to show you how to decorate the inside of this card, we're just going to do the front. So we've just scored it, so it's about a 1/4 of an inch score. Alright. And we've made this one the same size. So they were exactly the same size, or almost. And we're just scoring that. And we're going to, I don't think I'm explaining this very well. On the back of the score mark, we're just going to stick that down, like that. So you've got a little sort of variegated, stepped in front of the card, alright? And this is just a piece of grey granite, which is about the same size as the half of the card, alright? Now it is a light colour, Megan, and it doesn't need an insert, you are right. So I've got, this is all I have left out of my pack, is these 2 pieces, because I lost a piece on the way here. So one of these pieces, these pool party pieces, I'm just going to cut it lengthways. So yes, it's about maybe a centimetre, 3/8 of an inch, depending on where you live. We're just going to cut that all the way along. Alright, then I've got a piece of navy, and what I'm going to do, and this is sort of to show you how to use scraps. I'm going to pop some Seal Plus across. Now the first piece is around about an inch. So just whatever the size is that is in the packet, alright? And about 1/4 of an inch from the top edge, maybe a little less, just eyeball it however you want it, and you just stick this in. And now this is embossed, right? So, and then you've got your next piece, and you're going to do another about 1/4 of an inch distance, Okay, and you're going to stick that on. So you could do this with any scraps that you have. And then we've got our last piece. And I didn't put the Seal Plus on very straight, just okay. Right, and we're just going to drop that like that. Okay, so you've got 3 pieces that are sort of equal distance apart. They should be straight. Try and get them straight. That's what grid paper is for, is to help you line them up. And just cut off the excess. Okay, so now that's a little panel to go on the front. Now I've got 2 circles. One is a grey granite circle and one is a white circle. I think that is 2.5 inches and this one is 2 3/8. Now I'm just going to quickly rough up the edges using the side of my scissors. Rough up the edges of the grey granite. Okay. Now, in my head, this looked really good. So, I'm sorry if it doesn't translate. It's been a week. Let's just say that. And we're only, it's sort of like what a year this week has been already. All right. So now we need to do some stamping. So I'm just going to put a little lighthouse on this one. And I've also got my balmy blue. So I'm just going to use my balmy blue pencil and just very quickly colour. Now this isn't watercolour paper, alright? So you should have some Winker Stella, but if you don't, you could just use your aqua painter brush. Just don't get it too wet. Just spread the colour. You don't want to, and I don't even want it to be really spread too well. I just want it to just have the edges softened. So I'm just doing the top with the balmy blue. And I've got a bit of Coastal Cabana. And I'm just doing it super, super light. And there isn't a, well, I don't know that there is. There might be now. There wasn't when I got my watercolour pencils a, what do you call it, a pool party watercolour pencil. So you don't want to put too much water on it, but and you can if it is a bit icky, you can just, and I don't like what I just did there, but anyway, you get the idea. You don't want it to be too soaked, and you don't want the, certainly don't want the paper to fall apart. But it is a little bit damp, and that's okay. And I do want it to look a bit rustic, so because it's what's the word, it's because you've added water to the paper, it makes it a little bit easier to distress. around the edges. Like if you were using snips, you'd have your snips open when you were rubbing the edges, and you sort of want it to look a little bit torn. And see, I really like distressing, so I think this works well for this. Okay, so there's just a teeny bit of colour in the background. We'll grab our stamp set. Yeah, I think I'm missing a piece of ephemera. I'll just have to look in the envelopes and see if I can find it. So ideally, if you had a Night of Navy ink pad, that would work really well on this too. So I'm just adding that on. So it just looks a little bit distressed. Now in my head it looked good, so we'll add some birds, because what's a lighthouse without birds? Just gonna add a bird here. And two birds, a big bird there. All right, and one more little bird. Now, you might need to use a mask of some description. You could just use a scrap of paper as your mask, so you don't get birds where you don't want them. I just want this little bird. Just want a little bird there. All right, so scratch that piece off there. Because it's distressed, it doesn't matter if it's a bit pilled. It's meant to be like that. That's the look I was going for, and you can even crumple it up a bit. And let's get this one. I'm going to spray a bit of water on it, and we're just going to distress it a bit. So just crumple it up a bit. And then flatten it back out. Channeling my inner Tim Holtz here. Alright, and there's only a very, very small border around the two. So you really have to make sure that that's not going to work. So we're going to use some dimensionals on the back. I've only got mini dimensionals here now. Oh, goodness me. And we're going to use a bucket load of them. That's the technical word, is bucket load. All right. So lots and lots and lots. Okay. Okay. And just work those little edges in. And look, you can even tear little bits off, right? You could. So when you want to tear something on a particular line, just wet the cardstock where you want it to tear, and just gently rip it. Okay, so that way you're seeing more of the background. And over here we're just going to do a little tear down here. Okay, and we need 3 tears because, you know, odd numbers and all that. Okay, there you go. So that's our little piece for on the front. And you might think, when you see this put together, you might think, oh Chrissy, that's terrible, but I don't think it will be. What we do need to do is just trim this down so that it is about 3.5 inches wide, or 9 centimeters, thereabouts. Okay, so that way you've got a nice thingy bob, what do you call that? A nice little border. You can trim it a bit narrower if you want. You can make it completely square if you want. I didn't make it completely square because I just thought it didn't need to be square. But the rest of the card is a rectangle. I didn't want to add yet another shape in. Okay, but you can make it a square if you wanted to. Okay, we're just taking that off. Now you can have your thickest one at the panel at the top, or the bottom. I just did it at the bottom. And I'm putting it up near the top. So later on you can go and add a sentiment. And I just need to have a look in one of the envelopes, because I think there is some more ephemera in the envelope. And now all we'll have to do once we finish this card and find that bit of ephemera is to add some bling. Now, any suggestions as to bling? I've got a few different ones, but I'm open to suggestions of what bling that you think might go with this. I'll just pop my water painter away now. The water painters won't be in the new catalogue because Stampin' Up doesn't have the same supplier anymore. So if you want one, make sure that you buy your water painter before the annual catalogue finishes. Alright. Your trusty favourite is always good. Would that be the basic rhinestones, Megan? I don't know. Alright. So, I'll just... And what you could do is you can pop these on the inside as a little banner as well. And it's because it is a light colour, it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to an insert. I prefer having a white insert, but it actually doesn't need it. And we're just going to trim this one in half as well. Now, you could use a piece of linen thread, or you can just do what I'm doing here. I'll pop this. Oh no. Just going to pop it on less of an angle. There we go. We're going to pop that there. Pop this one next to it. Now when you're doing a little banner on the inside, make sure that you don't go over the fold line. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I normally have grid paper down, and I don't know, I thought tonight I'd just go rogue and not have any. Alright. Okay, so you've got a little bannery thing on the inside. Now you could use, let's just use our watercolour pencil and just draw a little line, a little curve. And you could use a marker of some description. You can use Sharpie if you want, a thin Sharpie. Right, so let me just grab the other ones back. So we did okay. So that was one of the originals, and we again have just switched it up. Oh, here we go. This is the piece I was looking for. I did know I lost the, this is what I wanted to do here. I wanted to pop this one on the front of this here. So let's just pop that on here. I could have put it on a completely different one, but I like it on that one. All right, let's bring all our things back in. Shift all this other junk off the desk. So this is the kit we started with. All right, and we have just changed it up significantly. Now I have got, just grabbing out my different bling. A few different ones. Some of them I don't even know what they are, but oh, goodness. Okay, so that's what we started with, and so let's go from left to right. So this is the card from the kit. No, sorry, this is the card from the kit. So this is my first one, and it needs bling. So I'm thinking we might use the Earth Tones bling. Hey! We're just using a kit tonight, Vicky. You inspired me last year. Okay, sorry, last night, last night you inspired me. So the Earth Tones is sort of Cajun craze. I don't know if it's Cajun craze or pecan pie. So we've just taken our first one and we have just made it a completely different card, and then made it into this card as well. So we just cut the card in half. So instead of only getting 6 cards in the kit, you're getting 9. Take my pick tools, run away. So we're just going to shove some embellishments on this, and I'm thinking the this one, the earth tones, I believe these are still in the on the online store, and I might just put one in each corner. I don't normally do even numbers of embellishments, but one in each corner seems to work for that one. Alright, now this one we'll use the same, it's a bit same bling, but we might use this, I'd say it's basic beige. See you Saturday, Jan, looking forward to it. Okay, and we're just gonna do 3 little gems. I'll pop this one over here somewhere. I want it to sort of be in a triangle sort of a shape, so over here. So that's the second one. Alright, so we've got 3. Alright, the second example on the second project was this one. Alright, oops. And then my alternate version is I just made 2 more cards, those 2 cards. Out of that, definitely need bling on those. We might try for some, oh, we got some pool party bling maybe. So this one is the ombre dots. Well, you've seen the end, Vicky. We're going a bit longer tonight because I was making more cards. I tried to be quick, but you know, maybe I'm not going to use the ombre. I'm going to use on this one. I'm just going to have those 3 so they go around there. So they're sort of following the curve. And then we'll just put 2 little ones down here. And these are tiny, these little ones. I don't even know. So these were ombre matte decorative dots. They were pretty cute. Look, this one's got, looks like it's got some pecan pie, but you could almost say it's got some peach pie in here, and I reckon you could maybe use a couple of those. Just a couple of little ones just for this one. We could have used pool party, I guess, but thinking they look alright. I'll pop that one over here. Okay, so again, these are completely different to the original sample, so I just cut the card base in half. Alright, then the last one that is in the kit is this one here. And so we did a little pocket card using the card base. and it definitely needs some bling. And we're going to use some different bling again. Now these are the Opal Rounds assortments, so that is sort of more navy. So you just use whatever you have, and I'm just going to use these in the corners. I don't think that it needs a lot more than that. And we'll just pop this one up there and hope that it stays. Alright, so it's just got a little card that slips out, and so yes, you probably need a sheet of Cajun Craze, a sheet of Night of Navy and Pool Party and Grey Granite, but I think that it is definitely, I will use the same pack on here. I think it's definitely worth having a play with, and it's completely different when you see it in real life to what it looks like on the screen. I don't know where I'm going to put these. Somewhere here. Just put them up here. There we go. I don't know where I'm going to put those. I think they'll be all right there. Let's pop that one down there. There we go. Probably not the best placement of bling, but it's not too bad. So there you go. So there is our kit, our reimagined kit for the Maritime Moments kit. Now, I don't know how much this one is. I think it's $41, I think. And you get 6 cards if you just make them the way that they say. If you make the way how I do it, you get 9. I could probably get more, but that was 9 was a lot. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's class, or Facebook Live, whatever you like to call it. And I will see some of you on Saturday at our Heirloom Arrangements class. Saturday morning, remember, not Saturday afternoon. And yeah, Megan, I don't know why they come without bling. They need to have bling. Maybe the designers don't like bling. But, you know, we've all got bling in our stash, so we can add as much or as little bling as we like. We can add Wingstella. So ideally, you should splatter them all with Wingstella and they would look amazing. Yeah, just sound like Emma there. Anyway, everyone have a great rest of the week, and thank you for watching. Don't forget all of my videos being uploaded onto YouTube. And yes, put it in the suggestion box. That's a great idea, Leanne. We'll let Stamping Up know that we want bling with all of our kits, because bling is essential. Well, I think it is anyway. Well, it's essential for me. And until next time, happy creating and bye for now.